And we are going to kick off with a beautiful prayer from Corinne. So here she is. Karine is here. Karine is a longtime member of this community. She is a beautiful spirit and a friend to many in the Power of Love ministry, folks who are in masterful living and finding freedom. She's a love and a support to many, many beings, and we love to hear her pray. So bring it on, Karine.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for being part of this circle. As we call on the Spirit now, I take a breath of gratitude for this beautiful presence that is with us right now. I place my hand on my heart. Yes, my heart is beating a little bit fast, and I know that it's that joy, Jesus, the Christ, who is in all of us, the Spirit that gives us life, the Father, Mother God, whose connection we have guaranteed forever. How great it is to know that we are loved. How great it is to be able to participate in a moment of love where we can be of service to each other, where we can see each other beyond the form that we are, to the love, the light that we truly are. We are so grateful for the learning that continues here and for what we are about to receive today, to continue to fill our cups with that love so that we can go out and we can go forth and be ourselves a light that shines in this world. We are grateful for the healing that happens here. We are grateful for the joining. And so, in the blessedness and the trust that we are not alone, that Spirit is with us, that God is with us, that the light is with us, the company of heaven is with us. We are so surrounded by invisible force and power, and we can just sit and just relax and just receive. And with that, I just say thank you, and I open my heart to receive all that is about to happen here. And so it is. Amen.
Ah, yay, Karine. Thank you so much. Well, we're off to a great start. And I'm very excited to hear this next participant here. We've got Roger Mock, who's doing our music today. And this is his first time joining us, doing anything with the Power of Love ministry. So we're very glad that you're here, Roger. And here's what I can tell you about Roger. He was ordained as an interfaith minister through All Faiths Seminary in New York City. And he has served as the director of music at Unity Church in Albany, New York, since 2004. He's also now their assistant minister, and he's been a Course in Miracles student for about 25 years. And he has been, I believe you came to us through John Mundy, is that right?
That is correct. John is my connection, yes.
Yeah. So he really insisted that knowing me, knowing you, that we would be a great connection. So I really appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And now in Unity in Albany, are you having online services there?
That's all we're doing, yes. So it's been going well, but it's different for sure.
Yeah. Well, good. Then you're used to doing this.
Yep.
And I thank you for being here today.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm eagerly awaiting your first.
Shall I do a song then?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this song is kind of based on a famous Unity prayer, the prayer for protection. by the poet James Zillett Freeman. So I've kind of played around with it a bit. I hope you can hear it. I've been working on trying to get a decent audio sound through Zoom, and that's not easy, I'm finding. So do it my best. I am whole, I am whole. The light of God surrounds me and I am whole. I am whole, I am whole. The light of God surrounds me and I am whole. Basically it. We change a couple words each verse. So the next verse is, I am well. I am well. I am well. The love of God enfolds me and I am well. I am well. I am well. The love of God enfolds me and I am well. And I am healed. I am healed. The power of God restores me and I am healed. I am healed. I am healed. The power of God restores me and I am healed. I am blessed. I am blessed. Spirit of God renews me and I am blessed. Yes, I am. I am blessed. I am blessed. The Spirit of God renews me and I am blessed. I am free. I am free. The presence of God is with me and I am free. Yes, I am. I am free. I'm free. The presence of God is with me and I am free. And I am whole. I am whole. I am whole. The light of God surrounds me and I am whole. Oh, I am whole. I am whole. The light of God surrounds me and I am whole. I am whole. I am whole. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God restores me. The Spirit of God renews me. And the presence of God is with me. The light of God surrounds me and I am whole. Thank you very much.
Woo! Yay! Thank you. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. You know,
Good.
My heart goes out to all the musicians. It really does. I can't even imagine how challenging it is to deal with the technology of Zoom and make something really beautiful and pristine and pure and lovely come through with the technology. But
Yep.
you managed to do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Roger. Stick around.
I will.
Got more to come here. And I just want to take a moment here before I introduce Reverend Jesse Brune Haran as our speaker, because I'd like to look at it so I can see all the people here. And I feel a little bit like Mr. Rogers, because I say, oh, look, I can see Gerald, and I see Nancy, and I see Garrick Angel. Yep. And Gerald Collins, I think you were here last week. Yeah. Were you here last week? Yep. And other familiar faces. Yep. There's Susan in New York, and Terrence in LA, and Dina. We've got and Kieran J there in the UK, and Kelly's there with her dog, probably having a morning cup of tea, 5 o'clock in the morning down under. There they are. So, and Serge is in his car driving. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. We're transcending time and space, and we've got all the people on Facebook Live, and it's just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful to see everybody. I'm not going to name everyone, but I just, when I saw Gerald and then I saw Garrick, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, beautiful. All right, so this is a joy and a pleasure here to introduce Reverend Jesse Brune Haran. And I'm going to read you his bio, and then I might share a few extra things here, because I've known Jesse a long time. So Reverend Jesse is an ordained A Course in Miracles and New Thought minister, spiritual counselor, inspirational speaker, and the founder, spiritual director of Active Love Ministries, a new organization offering training and licensing for spiritual counselors and metaphysical ministers. He also offers a 4-month training for ministers in grief counseling. Jesse has worked closely with me since 2009 and considers me his mentor and friend. He wrote, it's weird to read it about myself, but he wrote, she greatly supported him and his husband, Christopher, when they navigated the grieving process after their son unexpectedly transitioned from the physical to spirit 2 years ago. In this, that, what I can add to that, where'd my Zoom go? What I can add to that is Jesse and I started a spiritual community together in Los Angeles in 2009. And he asked me, would I start this community with him? He wanted to do what he called then gay church in a bar on a Sunday morning. And so I just remember he said, I don't know if you'd be interested in this. I think you're straight. I don't know, but that's what I want to do. I want to do gay church in a bar on a Sunday morning, because the bars are closed on Sunday morning. And I just remember, like, going to Spirit. What do you think, Spirit? And it was just came back like, I think that's a big yes for that one. So he was in my Finding Freedom class at the time, and a bunch of you have done Finding Freedom. And we have done a lot of work together, and we've done a lot of living and growing as people together, as ministers together. And I had the good fortune to perform the wedding, the marriage for Reverend Jesse and his husband Christopher, and to bless that union. And he is just one of the most exceptional people I know, and I am so glad he is here to share a message that I know will bring us laughter and maybe some tears, and you know, we are going to have some healing.
All right.
I'm all in. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have to like dry my, you know, and I have to say, I'm a crier, and it's because sometimes I just get so caught in the beauty of life and how wonderful it is that I am moved to just weep. And I'm doing it right now because I'm just so grateful for my holy relationship with Reverend Jennifer, who is more than a mentor. I don't think there's a word for what she represents to me and the influence that she's had in my life. And I always say it is a gift to have somebody see your potential, even when you can't see it for yourself, and hold the vision of that potential until you can embrace it for yourself. And that is why I believe in the power of spiritual community. I think spiritual community is a valuable tool, just as valuable as prayer and meditation, in the sense that you have heart-centered folks that are going to mirror back what you have been standing in. What a gift to be here with you all now. What a gift not to just be wearing sweatpants. I decided to wear my blazer because truth be told, we haven't really had childcare since March, and I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So it's a really special day when I can take a shower and do my hair and put on clothes that don't have stains on them. So thank you for gifting me the opportunity to pull it together a little bit. Hello, soul siblings. Hello, I am so happy to be here. They gave me a time frame today, so I've just set the timer, because you get me talking about God, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to just keep talking. And that's really what started my spiritual path. Is I just became so fascinated by how the thoughts I was thinking created the world I was experiencing. And I thought, everyone has to be interested in this topic of conversation, right? No, they're not. And that's okay. That's why, again, spiritual community is awesome, because you get to come together with other folks who are totally jazzed about love and loving themselves and healing. And what is healing other than discovering and allowing peace to guide you? Thank God for peace, right? And so, I was thinking about what exactly I'd like to talk about today, because there's so much going on, right? And there were so many ideas that came forth. And what I realized for myself as a spiritual teacher is that I am a channel that spirit works through in magnificent ways. And it took me a long time to get to the place where I believed that, where I felt I was worthy to be a teacher of God. And I feel as though that is kind of what the spiritual path is. It's a process of untying one little attachment at a time, the little knots of attachment, until we feel more free and more free and more free, until we allow and recognize what we truly are. In fact, A Course in Miracles, I wrote this down, but I think I have the right lesson. Course in Miracles, lesson 188, says that enlightenment is but a recognition of what is there, what has always been. And in the introduction of A Course in Miracles, which I think is just a perfect, if we could just master the introduction to A Course in Miracles, we got it. And it says the aim of this course is not to teach the meaning of love, but to offer tools to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is our natural inheritance. And so God's here, love's here. Call it whatever it is that you'd like to call it, but it's here. It always has been. You are perfect, whole, and complete. You are an expression of the divine. That is what you are. We just forgot about it. It's like we're all having this collective identity crisis in which we think we are limited, we think we're unlovable, we think we're broken, we think all of these things. And what I find fascinating, and what I'd actually kind of like to talk about, is how we take that misbelief, we take that identity crisis, and we even bring it along our spiritual path with us. And how it manifested for me, and how I know it's manifested for many of us, water break, is this idea that I'm doing the spiritual thing wrong. I have to be getting this wrong, because I don't, I still get upset. I still get angry. I still get sad. I still get all of these things. I must be doing it wrong because I know the truth. I know the truth, but I don't always act like it. And I think that is a place where you can discover real freedom in your life, is when you come to the understanding of, I know the truth, or at least I have enough faith to buoy me until I have enough experiences that will take me across the bridge from faith to knowing. But I don't always feel it. And isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful to know that, like, you can give yourself permission to not feel 100% enlightened all the time, that it's okay to continue to go through your experience and have these human feelings and have these emotions, even if they're around on the spectrum, and it's not always just peace. Trust me. So I'd like to share a little bit of how I came to terms with this and how I came to lovingly accept where I am in my process, in my evolutionary process, my discovery process. And that's really what I call the spiritual journey now. I'm not learning anymore. In fact, everything that I need to know is within me, because the mind of the divine, the mind of the creator, the mind of love is working right here in me. All of the brilliance and beauty that is in Reverend Jennifer Hadley is right here. I have full access to it as well. All the brilliance and beauty that's in, you name the teacher, you name the guru, right here, right now. We all have it. It's all here. Question is, do you believe that's true? And I would say the most valuable question we could ever ask ourselves in any given moment is that true? Is that true? Because with that question, do you now have a process to free yourself from the belief systems and the thoughts that cause stress, upset, and misery? When you stop and ask yourself, is that true? You begin to understand, no, where did I even pick that up? Where did I pick that belief up? That's awful. I'm not interested in believing that anymore. Oh my God. And once I began to realize that this is a process, the healing process, it's a spiritual practice, which means that we get to continue to, in fact, listen, if we're all here in the physical right now, having this human experience together, chances are there's still something for us to heal. There's still opportunities for us to grow. There's still more to be revealed. So why not enjoy the experience? I'll share an example, a really kind of like fun example. My sister, I'm gay. I am gay, and I love that about myself. I love being queer. Oh my gosh. It took a long time for me to get to that place, but let me tell you, it's where it's at. It's amazing. Love it. High five your gay friends today, or virtually if you can. But even just in the last couple of years, I realized that I still had internalized homophobia to heal. And I was leading an LGBTQ plus spiritual community for the last decade. And there was still stuff around there. And when I realized it was when my sister stayed with us and she introduced us to RuPaul's Drag Race. Now, RuPaul's Drag Race is a wonderful reality television show. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you to check it out. But I was just resistant to it. It didn't feel like my thing, and I didn't know enough about it, so I created my own judgment about it, blah, blah, blah. But my sister had me start watching some of the episodes, and it was fantastic. And what we began to notice is that my kids, especially my youngest, who's 2 years old, he loves drag queens, loves them, can't get enough of them. And we have this little trampoline. Actually, Reverend Jennifer got it for us. We have this little trampoline in our house that we put in the living room. And what he loves to do is he loves us to put on some of the drag queen performances, and he'll bounce to it. And he'll just like bounce to it. And then he wants another one and another one. And there's this one song called Sissy That Walk. Think about it. Sissy That Walk. And part of the dance move is you extend your arm out and then you let your wrist go limp like this and you shake around. My son loves to do that move. Whenever it comes, you get to see him, he's getting ready for it. He puts his little hand out, then he goes, boop, and then he keeps bouncing and dancing. And I remember I was observing him do this, and I thought to myself, should I let him do this? Am I pushing gay on this kid? Like, I don't know is this good? Is this, but in that judgment, in that moment of like questioning myself and asking, am I a good parent for exposing my kids to queer culture like this and letting them have fun with it? I realized, wow, there's still some part of me that is judging that is making me feel like questioning the idea of exposing my kid to the gay community. He has 2 dads. We are gay. We love that about ourselves. Why wouldn't we celebrate that culture? And listen, if you're on the spiritual path long enough, you no longer get to participate in this false idea of coincidence. There's no coincidences anymore. These kids and I and my husband have a sacred contract. We have decided to come together for whatever reason, beyond what I understand in this moment. These children decided to be raised in a gay home. So why wouldn't I show them what self-love and acceptance look like? Why wouldn't I celebrate every aspect of myself and demonstrate to them the power in loving yourself and celebrating yourself, every aspect of it, even the parts that some cultures would demonize? And so this is how we get to play the game. Recently, with all of these fantastic demonstrations that are arising, which I recognize as aspects of our culture, consciousness in our culture that is no longer willing to be oppressed and diminished and not taken and not valued, is rising up and inviting us all to a more expansive vision of what is possible when everyone is treated equally and celebrated. So the Black Lives Matter movement, the Me Too movement, all of these magnificent things are rising to the surface of our collective awareness as an opportunity for us all to explore, where are we still limited? Where is my racism? Where is my limited ideas still residing within me? Where have I taken my privilege as a white cisgendered man for granted? How am I leaning into that? And what these ideas and this level of contemplation has sparked in me is looking around as a minister to all of the spiritual communities, to my brothers and sisters that are spiritual leaders in the New Thought communities and the Course in Miracles communities, and looking at how white privilege dictates a lot of the practices there. And I really started to think, I'm like, wow, most of the people that have written the texts that we truly value and we use as foundation for our spiritual practice have been white people of privilege. I wonder if, because they channel this material that is valuable and beautiful and gorgeous, and I love it, oh my God, I love it, but is there a more expansive view that we get to evolve into as the practitioners of this work? Because we get to continue to evolve, and the good thing, the blessing of the spiritual path is that it's all about self-empowerment. So we get to learn to trust our intuition, our loving intuition. We get to trust our inspired ideas. We get to explore the questions that arise as we sit in our loving heart and look at the landscape that is in front of us now. This is how we continue to grow and evolve and enlighten not only ourselves, but our culture and our family and our communities. This is the opportunity for us all. So now we're in this moment where a lot of the world has kind of come to a pause. A lot of our endeavors, a lot of our professional goals, all that stuff has started to come to a pause. And I see this as an opportunity to reevaluate, to explore, to decide not what do I want to create, but where do I want to create from? And how can I better create from that place? What blocks, what hurdles, what opportunities, healing opportunities are present for me now so that I can clear the way so I can create from a space of peace. I can create from a space of love. Isn't that a fantastic and exciting possibility right now? I think it is. And I think that the creative process, the manifestation process itself can, and you get a certain place in your creative work as a spiritual student where you realize it's not about what I'm creating, it's about where I'm creating from. What do I expect my goals to do for me? What do I expect the achievements that I'd like to experience do for me? And often, because we've been trained culturally to want certain things because they symbolize certain things for us, such as success, responsibility. Having a good career means you're a responsible adult. Having savings in the bank means that you're going to be taken care of, you're secure. All of these things, these goals that we've created for ourselves, if we really do the investigative work, we realize it's the feeling of security, it's the feeling of safety, it's the feeling of success, it's the feeling of worthiness, it's the feeling of freedom. That's what our heart truly desires. Are we now courageous enough to transcend the goals and allow ourselves to now just be willing to experience the divine qualities that are pre-installed in us now, just because it's our birthright? We are trust fund babies. We have been ingrained with this idea that we have to earn the right to be loved. We have to earn the right to be worthy. Can we heal that once and for all and simply allow the magnificence of love of God to flow through us and express freely from us, because it's what we're here to do? God's will for us and God's nature are the same. God's nature is expansion. God's nature is abundance. God's nature is celebration. Why can we not just do that now? Because we are here conscious and aware. This is what we get to do. And then from this space of self-love, we get to become aware of the inspired ideas that arise in our consciousness. What ideas grow from the space of peace? What ideas grow from the space of love? And am I going to be courageous enough to go take that next step? We have been trained to judge our desires. Well, I'm here to tell you, my beautiful soul siblings, you are children of the divine. Whatever you desire has been planted in your mind for you specifically, and you have every right to move in that direction. But what we have learned is we move freely and fluidly and without attachment, because it is the attachment to the outcome that will cause us to suffer. You may have the inspired idea to go across town to that one Starbucks that you like more than the other ones to get a mocha frappuccino. And even though it doesn't make sense to go that route, even though you have other things to do, you just feel it in your heart that that mocha frappuccino is the one thing that is going to support you and feeling your best today. So you go there, and unbeknownst to you, the barista that is serving you that day was going to go home and kill themselves after that shift, because what's the point? There's no good in the world. But here you come, heart open, the light of God, coming to enjoy your mocha frappuccino, and it sparks something in that barista, and they see something reflected back to them, that there is good, there is life, there is joy to be had, and I no longer need to kill myself today. I'm going to try a new approach. So, but we'll question our desires. We question the things that we'd like to experience until we don't want to. We're so exhausted by judging it and questioning it and thinking I'm not ready, it's not time, I'm not worthy, to where it's just exhausting and we don't want to do it anymore. This is what we get to do, folks. So this is the game, and it's a fun game, isn't it? When you give yourself permission to just play, when you give yourself permission to look at the thoughts and the habits and the beliefs through the lens of playful curiosity, then the path of enlightenment, the path of unfoldment gets to be an adventure. I used to have all these crystals. I loved a good crystal and beads and statues. I had this altar. Oh my gosh, like you wouldn't believe the magnificence that was my altar. Well, my husband and I decided to build a family, to have kids. And so we began the foster to adopt process. And what I realized was, okay, I can't have these crystals out in my house anymore because those kids are going to break them, they're going to hurt themselves with it, or they're going to try to swallow them. And I really had this this moment, this attachment to this altar. It was so beautiful. And I just knew those crystals were amplifying my prayers, my meditations. And I just knew that they were helping me deepen my gorgeous rituals and ceremonies. I just knew it, and I didn't know what I was going to do without them. But then I had this like sort of aha moment where I realized the crystals are within, honey. You are the crystals. God is here in you. You amplify the prayer. You amplify the meditation. You are the tool of amplification. And own that. Do you believe that you are worthy to do that? Do you believe that you can experience the same peace without that? Are you worthy enough to receive that now? And I was like, oh, let's do it. Now, here's where my kids have really helped me. I call my kids the little gurus because they teach me every day. Since COVID-19 has hit, I have, like I mentioned before, I haven't had childcare since March. We just started up again. So the lengthy meditation practice I like to do when the kids were at school, that's not happening anymore. If I want to meditate, I got to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, but my kids are on to me. The earlier I wake up, the earlier they wake up. And I haven't been able to have more than a 3-minute meditation in months. And I had to ask myself again, do you believe that you get to access peace within, even if you don't get to sit and do your meditation the way that you'd like to do it? And I had to find it. And I always said, and I've preached this a gajillion times, but it became time that I had to live it. My life is my practice. My life is my practice. Well, now truly, my life is my practice. And what I got to do is see where my limitations were with my kids. My sons are adopted. We adopted my sons, and they came through the foster program. And my children arrived to me from a really intense environment. And child abuse, severe child abuse, was part of their story. And it is so easy, so easy to judge the people, the biological parents, for the abuse they inflicted. And a lot of my journey through this experience is forgiveness. But listen, as a society, there are certain things that we've decided are unforgivable. Violence against children is one of those things that we've just decided are unforgivable. Well, the big opportunity now for me is to question that. Is that true? Is that true? And so being locked in quarantine with your children and then social distancing with your children, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, that demand 100% of my time and attention or they'll hurt themselves. Trust me, we were already taking a trip to the ER to get stitches because we weren't paying attention for a moment. I've had to come to terms with the abuser in me. I've seen rage come up. I've yelled at a child the last couple of months. I'm going to be really transparent with y'all. I've yelled at a kid. All right. My patience have been worn thin. And I've had to be able to see that within myself and then forgive it. And so I realized that the judgment that I was putting on the parents was just a part of me that I didn't want to believe was within myself. That darkness can't dwell within me. It's there. And I've been able to allow it to come to the surface without judging it, just to observe it. And thank God I have the tools to be able to observe it. Thank God I have the tools to be able to playfully explore those tendencies and those ideas without making myself bad for it, right? And then even with that, I got to work through, like I said, that shame. I always call it's the residue of religious guilt. But I was thinking, I'm so enlightened. I'm such the spiritual teacher. How can I be that angry? How can I have rage? How can I be short with these children? I just yelled at a kid. I'm leading spiritual communities and I'm yelling at children. And all of this here is my opportunity now to do my healing work. This is where I get to explore what's serving me, what isn't. How am I willing to, can I try a new approach? What might that new approach be? How am I going to support myself? How am I going to forgive myself? How am I going to forgive these children? How am I going to forgive my husband? What am I going to do to get myself to a state of peace so I can be more present for my kids? All of this is here, and this is the opportunity that we all get to do. Do you feel stifled because your professional goals are on hold right now? Are you afraid because you think that unemployment might run out? What's that fear? Are you okay now? I'm going to offer a affirmation that I have. I'm going to do a time check. I have 2 seconds left. I'm going to go about 90 seconds over and I'll wrap it up with this. This affirmation has supported me so much during this experience. And what it is, I took it from a friend of mine, a teacher of mine. It's lots can happen. Lots can happen. So if you find yourself in a moment of overwhelm where you have no idea how you're going to move through this, you have no idea how it's going to resolve, you have no idea what the other side of the bridge looks like, or if you're ever going to get there, I invite you to consider saying to yourself, lots can happen, lots can happen, because lots can, in fact, happen. We don't know what phone call is going to come up tomorrow. We don't know who we may run into. We don't know what opportunity can present itself. We don't know anything what might happen. What we do know is that right here and right now, I'm taking this breath. And right here and right now, I'm okay. And even though I may not feel like it in this moment, I know that I am a child of God. And that God's will for me is the same as God's nature, which is expansion and abundance and joy. And life is working through me right now. And I surrender all of the things that I can't control. I place on the holy altar in my mind so I may alter my perception of it. I let it go. I give it up. I surrender it. And I'm going to focus now on what feels good. And I give you all now permission. Reverend Jesse gives you permission to do what you'd like to do what sounds fun this moment, to do your best. And if your best in this moment is watching Netflix for the full day in your pajamas, go with God. Do it from a space of joy and freedom and appreciate it. Do your best and trust that tomorrow you may even do better. And allow the feelings to arise and be playfully curious with them. Oh, I'm feeling sad today. Doesn't make you unspiritual, doesn't make you bad. I just feel sad today. I wonder where this is going to take me. Oh, I feel angry today. Where is that going to take me? I know that my true nature is loving, and since I'm feeling sad, since I'm feeling angry, I'm believing something that isn't true. Where am I out of alignment? What am I believing that isn't true? Am I willing to heal it now? A healed mind is a mind at peace. And may we all collectively continue the journey together and utilize this valuable tool of spiritual community to allow your community, allow others to see the vision, know the vision of your potential, and will know it's true for you and it's possible for you, just like Reverend Jennifer did for me. She saw my potential and she held that vision until I was able to embrace it myself. And that was the greatest gift. And that's why I do what I do today. That's why I'm a spiritual teacher. It's because I am going to hold the vision of possibility for humanity, for this world, until we all can actualize it for ourselves and embrace it for ourselves. So I love you all. Thank you, Jennifer, for giving me the opportunity to come play. I just realized I locked my dog outside of my apartment, and he's been outside the whole time I've been talking, which is fabulous. And so I'm going to let him in. And I don't know if I should pray us out or not, but I'm going to just let the dog in first. I'm not attached to how this is supposed to end. So Reverend Jennifer, you can let me know. And give me 1 second.
Jesse, I just so you know, now is when I do a healing meditation. So take your time.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah, go take your time. Get Bodhi.
Bodhi's in. He's all good.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So beautiful. So much inspiration. Yeah. I think it was Amy. Somebody said, I don't know how Jesse managed to touch on everything that's going on in my life. But that's it. When you're in tune with the spirit gives you direction. You follow that, and that is the truly helpful prayer, right? From the text of A Course in Miracles. I call it our purpose prayer. A poop prayer. No, not a poop prayer.
That's a valuable prayer too, though.
Let's not go there right now. But we've all had a prayer to dry poop, I'm sure. Okay, so the purpose prayer is to be truly helpful, and that will be guided and directed in that. In that. And so clearly, when we're willing to listen, as Jesse is willing to listen, we're guided what to say. And that's the truth of it. So we can relax into that. We don't have to wonder or worry about it or be fearful or anxious in any way. And so, and that is one of the miracles of coming together, joining together, that we are willing to surrender the differences for a moment, maybe. And we can see instead that we are one with each other, that we are part of each other because we're part of God. And so as I go into this healing meditation, one of the things that stood out for me in what Jesse shared is that, you know, things can go sideways, things can seem to fall completely apart. Houses can burn down, they can be flooded, people pass away suddenly, they die unexpectedly. Suddenly you're bankrupt because of some decision that somebody made that was out of your control. People lose their jobs. People suddenly have a virus, an infection that's ravaging them, a healthy person. All kinds of unexpected things happen. They do. They happen to all of us on a regular basis. And where we go into trauma and fear is when we try to hold on to the past, when we try to stop what's happening instead of riding the wave that Spirit is providing for us in that moment. And it takes great courage to be able to ride the wave. I'm going to just tell a really quick little story here. Some of you may have heard me tell this. It's one of the standout moments in my life. Many years ago, I was going whitewater rafting in Maine. And they gave us a training about what to do when you're whitewater rafting, because it's dangerous. People can die. And this wasn't a particularly dangerous whitewater river that we were going to raft, but still, they give you training what to do if you fall out of the boat. And we were all wearing wetsuits because it was cold. It was actually snowing. And so they said, if you fall out of the boat, as quick as you can, orient yourself, pull your feet up so you can see your toes at the edge of the water, and look at your toes and let the river carry you. You will be looking at your toes going down river that way. And that's the safest position, and we'll come get you. That's all you have to do is get your feet up as quick as you can, look at your toes, keep your toes out of the water. And it's a pretty easy position to hold if you can just assume that position right away. Well, at the end of the day, in the evening, my group of friends and I, we went to the bar after dinner, and there was a guy sitting there by himself drinking Jägermeister, which, if you don't know, is like, I guess it's a very high alcohol content, medicinal type alcohol. And we were chatting. Somebody said, oh, I heard somebody fell out of the boat. I heard they broke their ankle. And the guy drinking the Jägermeister said, that would be me. I was the guy who fell out of the boat and broke his ankle. And we said, what happened? He said, I tried to stand up, and my foot got caught under a rock, and my leg got snapped. And so I remember that story because the instruction was so simple. Go with the flow of the river, right? But our mind doesn't work that way because we're identified with the ego, we're identified with the body. So our mind goes to, when we're ego identified, our mind doesn't go to relax, go with the flow. Our mind goes to see how you can control this environment, see how you can manipulate things, see how you can stop things from changing. But that's when all of our judgments come in. And that's when we start thinking that maybe RuPaul's not a good example. Maybe this is not a good idea. Maybe I'm not a good person. Maybe I'm evil. Maybe they're evil. And we start coming up with all these judgments, which then create all this lack and limitation in our life. And our life just gets smaller and smaller. And then the more we have these thoughts, the more like attracts like. So we start thinking even more of those thoughts. And we just start to implode and get darker and darker. And then we're just like a feral cat, right? And that's what can happen. So the antidote is very simple. And let's turn within and find it within ourselves. So we're going to move into this healing meditation and think of it like that journey to, if you feel like you've been thrown out of the boat and you're in the white water and you're being tossed and turned, and it's challenging. It's challenging to make decisions. It's challenging to decide what's good, what's better, what's best. It's challenging to simply maintain equilibrium. Sometimes we feel like we've been so hurt and so wounded. People don't understand us, they don't appreciate us. And this is when we're trying to make sense of things and understand what's going on. We're trying to analyze, because that's what the ego identified person does, is they try and analyze everything and create a strategy for survival. But that's not our way. That's not our way. We're here to demonstrate, to fully know, and to live and to model rising above the battlefield. Letting the flow of God's love carry us to higher ground and higher ground and higher ground, always safely. We can learn through pain. We can learn through suffering. We can learn through adversity. Or we can remember through joy. We can learn to remember to laugh. And this is foundational to our curriculum in this world. Remembering to laugh so that we can be truly helpful. So in this moment now, I'm inviting you to think of something that's going on in your life that feels super challenging. Maybe you can't think of anything in your personal experience, so maybe you can think of something in the world that's super challenging, where you can see others are having a struggle. But think of an area in your life, and it might even not be difficult right now. Maybe it's something unresolved from the past that you've simply put to the side, try not to think about. Some unresolved hurt or pain or suffering. And in this experience of pain and suffering that's unresolved, we made some decisions along the way that weren't so kind, weren't so loving. Maybe they weren't so kind and loving to ourselves, maybe to other people, maybe to both. Maybe we put some labels on ourselves. Maybe we put labels on other people. These decisions that we made about ourselves and about others, these labels, They're like casting a spell. It's the decisions that we've made that are not in alignment with love and kindness that become that festering pea under the mattress. And we start justifying our decisions, our judgments, our opinions. And all that justification is like building a wall around our heart, walling ourselves in like a prison cage that we have built. And then that ever-flowing river of love that is always there to carry us cannot carry us out of the prison we made unless we are willing to relinquish the meaning we made of what happened in the past. And it sometimes seems like it's what other people did or didn't do that is the hard part to forgive. But in truth, that is never the case. It's about forgiving ourselves for the meaning we made of it, our interpretations, and the decisions we made about ourselves and our lives that we must forgive ourselves for. And what is true forgiveness but letting go of those opinions, those judgments, those decisions? We can be carried on a river of love. We can be. And we must decide that's what we would prefer. So we must leave behind these opinions and these judgments, or we won't be buoyant enough to be carried by the river. If we feel like we're drowning in how difficult life is, it's the weight of our judgments of how we think it should be and how we think it shouldn't be. That's the thing that keeps us from rising up above the battlefield. And what is so wonderful about this life in God? All that's required is our willingness to let these opinions, these decisions, these pronouncements, these labels go. That's the only requirement. The willingness to see ourselves as perfect, as liberated. That's the only requirement. So in this moment now, I invite you to see in your mind's eye, pulling the labels out of your heart. Just see yourself pulling them out. Just pulling them out like one of those magicians that has the handkerchiefs tied together, just pulling them out. You don't need them anymore. And the greatest gift you can give to the world is to turn them all over to Spirit. No matter how long you've held them and cherished them, it doesn't matter. They can be dissolved and resolved permanently back to the root cause right now. Willingness is the only requirement. So we release and we replace. We catch the judgments, we release them, and then we replace them with loving kindness, with appreciation. I'm so grateful I can change my mind. There's a mantra for us. I'm so grateful I can change my mind. I'm so grateful I can let the past go. The Holy Spirit knows precisely how to remove it from our mind. Our willingness is all that is required. No other thing is required. And every time we join together in this way, and we choose to focus on the light, all humanity is lifted. It immediately becomes easier for every person on this planet to let the past go. We are in service to our Mother, Father, God. We are in service to our brothers and sisters. We have a holy purpose. We are being led and guided. And this is why when we feel lost and alone and miserable, it's evidence that we are not making a loving choice, and we can be willing to make that loving choice in that moment. We don't need special equipment. We don't need anyone's permission, and we don't even need anyone's help. The Holy Spirit always there for us, calling all angels. So take this group of handkerchiefs of the old doubts and opinions and judgments and roll them into a ball. See yourself fashioning them into a ball. And then in front of you, you can see in your mind's eye an altar fire, a beautiful flame, beautiful violet flame. Just place that ball into that fire. We're using this symbolism to affirm our willingness to let these judgments and opinions go forever. Now is the time of our liberation. This is what we are choosing. This is the moment now. Let's take a deep breath together. And in the space of our wholeness and our holiness, I'm inviting Roger to give us another song, please, if you're ready.
I'll offer a medley of two short chants, both taken from the Course. Here we go. The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace. And let them bless, and let me bless them with the light in me. The peace of God is shining in me now. Sing that again. The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace. And let me bless them with the light in me. The peace of God is shining in me now. The light, the sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with Him. The sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with Him. The Christ in you is very still. He knows where you are going, and He leads you there in gentleness and blessing all the way. The sight of Christ is all there is to see. The song of Christ is all there is to hear. The hand of Christ is all there is to hold. There is no journey but to walk with Him. There is no journey but to walk with Him.
Yay, Roger.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ah, that was so perfect. All right. So now is the time when we do our breakout. And this is a unique thing that we do in our Sunday services that people really appreciate, really love. And I'm so glad that you do. Because I've been teaching classes and leading retreats since 1997. And one of the things that I have learned is the most healing and the most beneficial for people is when they can take a few minutes to share how they feel and what's going on with them. So that then becomes a time of healing. So I encourage you to take that healing opportunity in our breakout. So if you're new and you don't know how this works, I'm going to explain it to you right now. We're going to break into small groups, and in your small group, you can share or not share according to what you feel like. It's a profound gift to give somebody to simply listen with compassion. Loving listening is deeply healing. So you can share or not share. And what I invite you to share is really, what difference will it make in your life to leave these things that you placed into the altar fire? What difference will it make in your life to leave them behind? What if you were going to release and replace, what can you replace it with? What is the difference that it can make in your life to give up these labels and these judgments that you've held against yourself and others? The ones specifically that came up today for healing. So in this breakout, Linda here is she's doing the breakouts, and so you're going to go into a small group. You'll see something pop up on your screen. It depends. If you're on the phone, you'll get put right into the group, and then in the group we're going to call time every few minutes so everybody can get a few minutes to share. And you don't have to share. Again, you can take a pass and just be a wonderful, loving, compassionate listener. And then we'll all come back together. We'll have another song from Roger, and we'll close out. And we'll do an offering, a collection at the end. So Here we go, Linda.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute everyone.
Don't need to anymore.
Oh, we don't need to? All right. So *6 if you're on your phone and you need to unmute. Here we go.
If you can't find your breakout button, look on the bottom bar under breakout and click there. And then you'll be able to go right into your breakout. All right. Shirley, can you not find your breakout? I don't know how to help you. What about you, Tom? Can you find your breakout on the bottom bar? You're on your phone? I don't know what people do on their phone.
It should take them directly into the breakout.
All right. So, Linda, maybe you can help Kieran J. And I don't know what happened to Kieran J. and Faith and Roger. So Reverend Jesse, we have an audience on Facebook that's here for us. And let's see, I'm going to let Linda focus on that. Just gonna, there we go. So, Jesse, anything you'd like to share maybe that came through additionally from the music or from the meditation?
You know, I really value the exercise of being able to sort of not take stock, but it's more of like a scanning process. It's sort of like a vipassana when you scan the body. Instead of you're scanning the opinions and judgments that still, you know, maybe it's residue, maybe they're still very active in your awareness, and then having that visualization experience, because it works. Those visualization meditations work. And that potency of the violet flame, that divine alchemy, transmutation, it works. And what I think we begin to realize the more we do this work is that it's all real, you know, and it's all within, and we have access. It's not just a game you're playing. I really believe that our prayers, our ritual, when done mindfully, work. They're potent. They really work. And so to be able to take those judgments and opinions and place them in the violet flame, transmutation, and then pull out, what would I like to pull out instead? What am I leaving with? That's valuable stuff. It's so helpful, because what it does is it puts you directly in solution. It puts you in alignment with truth. So it's not just about what am I trying to go away from. It's about what am I embracing? Because we know that what we place our attention on matters. What we place our attention on is very important. And I think that something that we learn as spiritual students is to not spend too much time in that investigative, what's wrong? What are the blocks? What are those things that are causing havoc in my life? Because the ego will send you on an endless journey. Oh, there's more. Oh, how about this? How about this? Even the fact that you're spending so much time here, that's something to focus on. So if we can identify them, release them, and then shift our attention to what am I interested in embracing? What am I truly interested in experiencing? That's important. I think that's an important distinction for us to make. It's an adjustment, because if we spend time, and it's not about bypassing, it's not about avoiding what feels uncomfortable. I truly believe that if we get clear on how we'd like to feel, whatever blocks are preventing us from experiencing that will present themselves naturally. So we don't have to go looking for them. They'll show up. That's why I always say, like, if you're standing and if you like make the affirmation, the commitment to be a presence of unconditional love, that should come with a warning, because you're going to get lots of opportunities to put that into practice. And but in that declaration, whatever is preventing, whatever judgments and opinions and projections that are preventing you from fully embracing that, will present themselves to you, so that you can continue to do that work, the healing work.
Yeah, you're so right. I know you've heard me say, Jesse, that someone would come for spiritual counseling. I just want to be loving. I just want to be compassionate. Can you just help me? Because I feel like I get so mean and attacking. I just want to stay in my loving heart, right? And then they come back again a few weeks later, and they're like, "Oh my God, everybody in my life is driving me crazy." Weren't you the one that was in here saying you wanted to be more patient, more loving, and more kind? Like, how do you think that, like, didn't Spirit just give you the most awesome opportunity for weeks at a time with everybody making you crazy that you got to practice like boot camp? And then they're like, "Oh, right. Okay, well, boot camp continues." There you go.
Yeah.
Jessica, I want to introduce you to Kieran J. Gardner here, who's just a beautiful Course in Miracles teacher from the UK. And Roger, if you don't know her, I would like you to meet her as well. I've done a couple episodes of my podcast with Kieran J. She's just a magnificent being who speaks from her heart. And before you share anything, Kieran J., I would also like to give Roger a chance to share anything about Jesse's talk or the meditation, anything that you'd like to say, not in music.
Sure. I'm not feeling especially vociferous today, but I very much appreciate Jesse's message about finding the eye of the storm, I guess you could say, finding peace within the craziness of this life we're living. I mean, that is a big challenge, and it's the challenge that's on a lot of plates, including mine. Although I have, I don't have to deal with little kids anymore, but and I also appreciated, in conjunction with that, Jennifer, your message about floating down the river. That's a metaphor that works really well for me. In fact, there's a song I really love about that called "God is a River." If you've not heard it, look it up, by Peter Mayer.
Oh, okay.
Check it out. It's very good. It's about it's about a swimmer who's trying to cling to a rock. The water has gotten very rough, and he's looking for a rock, and he finds it, and he hangs on tight, and he calls it his savior, because it's going to keep him safe from the river and all the danger. But then he gets carried away in the waters, and the chorus is, "God is a river, not just a stone. God is the wild raging rapids and the slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage and a peaceful sandy shoal. God is the river swimmer, so let go." Oh yeah, it's a wonderful image. So I share that with you. That was very much on my mind as you were through both of those sharings.
I love that. I'm definitely going to look that up. I love Peter Mayer, and I love the song "Rolling River God." That's one of my favorite songs.
I don't know that one. Now, there are two Peter Mayers, however, both singer-songwriters, so
oh, well, I'm
be
the guy who does Everything is Holy Now.
That's the one. Yep. So I'll have to look that one up. I don't know it.
Rolling River God. I don't know who wrote it, but Bridget Bryant sings it fantastically.
Okay.
Carl, I can't believe I can't think of his last name. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'll look for it.
Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite spiritual songs. Rolling River.
That analogy, that river analogy, is so great to use just daily with because you can check in with yourself and just say, is this an upstream thought or a downstream thought?
That's good.
Is this attachment? What am I arguing for right now? Is it making me feel good? Is this bringing more peace, or is I stressing me out? And so if we can just go back into that downstream thought, like this feels much less painful. This feels less stressful. There's less anger energy attached to this. It's a really great way to just check in with our thinking at any moment.
Yeah, I think of sometimes I notice you feel that energy. I feel this energy sometimes like I'm clinging to a rock, like I'm clinging like this, and the river is pounding on me, and I'm taking in water, and it's so unpleasant. And then I think, just let go, Jen, just let go. And it's like, oh, okay, that's right. The river will carry me. God will carry me. Yeah. Kieran J. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I was like, yeah, you can feel like a salmon swimming upstream, and you can even see the bear that's going to eat you. You just keep going for it. Like you put yourself in its mouth.
Oh no!
Why am I doing this to myself? I can see the bear. This is the fourth bear this week that I've literally put myself in their mouth.
Yeah, Groundhog Day is a salmon. Kieran J, would you like to add anything? Oh, let's get you unmuted. Can you unmute? No? I don't know why it's, because you're not a co-host. Maybe if we make you a co-host, you can share. Linda's man.
There you go.
I unmuted her, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's very lovely to be invited in like this. It's beautiful. Thank you, Jesse, for your passion. I really, really enjoyed your passion. And I've already had a chance to say to Roger, I very much enjoyed your music. And Jennifer, your healing too. It's been really wonderful. And uppermost in this is, Jesse, your thought of the darkness will just come. You haven't got to go looking for it. If you focus on the light, it will appear. And I'm so with that we can simply decide to be in presence. We can simply decide to be with the Holy Spirit or Jesus, however we want to call it. And that's it. We just take a stand. This is it. I'm with you. And everything else has to rearrange itself around that decision. There's nothing that can move us out of that decision except our own choice to get deflected. And it's just so beautiful. And more, I can just do that. I wouldn't say it's perfect. I wouldn't say it's 24/7. But more and more, that is how it is, because I've decided it. And then I just watch. So I don't have good days and bad days. I have days in presence. And the amount of bumpiness in my system, in my mind, varies. Some days it's very bumpy. The ego's really going crazy because of my decision. And sometimes it's quieter. And I feel I can just be in the presence and there's no real resistance. And more, it's irrelevant how that works. What's being cleared is being cleared. And I don't identify with it. I identify with the presence. And then just celebrate what's coming up. And if there's a lot coming up, hallelujah, how fantastic. A good job lot of guilt being moved along. There's a wonderful quote by someone called Ari Shepherd. I saw it on Facebook. I have no idea who this is, but it's a beautiful quote. And it says, if you have any disturbance, seize upon it like a precious jewel in the dirt, because this is your unconscious guilt coming to the surface to be healed. And this is the only way progress can be made. I think that is so fabulous. So we can have a really stable existence here, connected to spirit with that choice, choosing life with a capital L, letting go of all our attraction to death, which is a big thing going on for me at the moment, forming part of my work and just making such a difference. I choose life. Everything's in that, absolutely everything. And then the ego has to do what it does in the letting go process. And Jennifer, I want to really thank you. One of the things that's resistant to going is tinnitus. I've had tinnitus for 7 years now. A lot of work on it. And there's still movement. I'm still opening to the healing. And something you said about the violet flame tonight, I just felt a violet flame all over my face. And this is the latest bit of the clearing. So bless you for that.
Beautiful. Yep. Jesse, thank you.
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
Every single one of us knows that the upset is the jewel. It is the opportunity. We don't, I say this all the time, that I used to go, I don't want to think about that. Now I go, oh, what's that?
That's interesting. Kieran J, is it Kieran or Kieran J? Kieran
J. Yeah, thank you.
One thing you said that I couldn't be more like on board with is the idea of like, I don't need to know how it works. Like that, like it just works. And a lot of people that, like a lot of my colleagues, they're so fascinated in like the mechanics of it and even often like the science of it. And the more that I walk the path, the more simple I appreciate. I just appreciate the simplicity of like I have a friend that's an astrologer, and he'll tell me everything that's going on, and I always come like, I'm like, just what do I need to do? Like, is there a meditation you'd like me to do? Do I need to like drink more water? What is it that you want to do? I don't need to know the specifics, but I just appreciated that. Like, I don't need to know why it's working, but it's working, and that's so like saves you so much time, first of all, and it just goes back to like Ernest Holmes always said, if it works, do it. If it works, do it. Because I think a lot of us, the ego will get so wrapped up in there, making you think that you've made the wrong decision, or you need to know, or it will just put, that like the logical thinking on the pedestal. And I've had enough of that. I've had to do a lot of healing around that, to where I like it simple, and if it works, I'll do it. And I'm also open to transforming and maybe something else taking its place that works even better. So thank you for that. I really love
that. And we're back. How was the breakout? How was the breakout, everybody? Is that good? Yeah. People write to me every week and they tell me how meaningful the breakouts are for them. Because that's the thing. That's the opportunity for us to each one to share and to be heard and to listen. And when we can listen to someone talking directly to us with our open heart, then we have a healing, and that's a beautiful thing. And so I applaud you all. Not everybody stays for the breakout. People are like, oh, I'm out of here. And I get that. I understand that. And I've also heard that people say, this is the first time I've ever done a Zoom where I turned my camera on so that I could be with other people in a breakout, because it felt so loving and so safe. So, and people who come back week after week have learned that this is a wonderful opportunity. And we have so many people from our Masterful Living community that are just so used to sharing and praying and being together and listening without judgment. It's wonderful. So we're going to have another song here from Roger in just a moment. And then we're going to close out with a prayer from Karine. And also right before we close out, I'm going to ask Reverend Jesse and Roger. I don't know if you say Reverend in Unity, to just share a bit about how people could get more of your music, Roger, and Jesse, if they want to learn more about you. And I know you've got your little gurus and like me, 20 other things that you've got going that people can learn about and share about. I just realized I put my microphone over there. And so this is our time of offering. So I'm going to invite you to consider making a donation, making an offering. And when you do make that offering, we're not passing a basket here because we're not in person. So you can make your donations online. But still, I invite you to think about holding your offering in your heart before you pass it on, and to share a blessing, to bless this ministry, to bless Jesse and Roger and Karine and myself and everyone who participates in this service. We have GJ and we have Linda, we have Sean, and so many people who participate. We have Faith, who, because our staff is working on this to bring this forward. So your tithes and offerings then become salary for the staff, and they also become tithes and offerings for Jesse, for Roger, for those who participate. So your donations are very meaningful. We pay everything forward, and then we can offer more things. And one of the ways that you can make your offering, if you so choose, is to sign up for our A Course in Miracles text messages. We have 2 text messages you can sign up for. They're daily inspiration, one from me, one from the course. And you can make a one-time donation, or you can make a monthly recurring donation. And that's a wonderful way to support this ministry as well, with an offering that way. And then we'll give you those text messages. And I just love getting them. They always seem to come at the right time, even to me. Yeah, I hear the sound text message and I look and I'm like, oh, I'm texting myself some inspiration. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. So helpful. Yes. So I'm inviting you to turn within and to bless your offering and see it multiplied and magnified throughout the universe. As we are giving ministry, we're a sharing ministry, we're a tithing ministry. And everything that comes in the door, we multiply it and send it right back out again in many, many forms. We offer free daily inspiration and the podcast and free classes, as well as these Sunday services, many, many offerings at livingacourseinmiracles.com and at jenniferhadley.com. Thank you so much. And Roger, thank you.
I'll share a setting of a Jewish chant. Well, the words are from the Jewish Talmud. It's a prayer of immense gratitude, you could say, and a tune that I put to it. So I'll sing it through twice. It's really short. Could song fill our mouth as the water fills the sea, and could joy flood our tongue like countless waves, could our lips utter praise as limitless as sky, and could our eyes match the splendor of the sun, Could we soar with arms like an eagle's wings, and run with gentle grace as the swiftest deer? Never could we fully state our gratitude for 1/10,000th of the lasting love that is your precious blessing, dearest God. Could song fill our mouth as the water fills the sea, and could joy flood our tongue like countless waves? Could our lips utter praise as limitless as sky? And could our eyes match the splendor of the sun? Could we soar with arms like an eagle's wings, and run with gentle grace as the swiftest deer? Never could we fully state our gratitude for 1/10,000 of the lasting love that is your precious blessing, dearest God. That is your precious blessing, dearest God.
Precious blessings for us. We have received them. Thank you, Roger.
Most welcome.
And if people would like to be in touch with you in any way, get your music, can you share with us, Roger?
Sure. I'll give you my email address if you want to get in touch. I don't have any like studio recordings of these songs, but I can do a cheap on the fly recording of it and send it to you. And so it's my name, Roger, Roger, .e for Edward, .mock, M-O-C-K, @gmail.com. I'll say it again, roger.e.mock @gmail.com.
Thank
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
And Reverend Jesse.
To be honest, I've sort of just made the executive decision to do not a thing for a couple months, except be really present with my kids and my family. And I've been, I'm going into sort of a process of doing some visioning work for my ministry, and which feels good because I just want to be able to move from a space of vision and intention. However, I do have a couple days a week where I see people privately as a spiritual coach and counselor. And I speak at least monthly at experiences like this. So if you'd like more information, you can visit activeloveministries.org, and you'll at least be able to get a hold of me. And what the future holds, I can't wait to share with you soon. But till then, I'm sleeping when I can, and I'm doing a lot of time at the park. So
That's beautiful. Yay. Yay. And I'm so glad to hear that trampoline is getting good use.
girl, good. That was a good gift.
Well, you know, Jesse's got 2 little boys and they're in lockdown, and his husband, Chris, had the virus and was hospitalized for 2 weeks. And he was there with the boys by himself. So I sent him a bunch of stuff that the boys could play on inside the house. Yeah. That's what it's for. All right. So we're going to close it out here with Kareen giving us a prayer. And big thanks to Linda, to GJ, to Faith, and to everybody, to Sean, everybody who makes it possible for us to put on these services. I love and appreciate you, each one. Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Sunday. I'm so glad we can celebrate Spirit together. Kareen.
Well, thank you. My heart is really full of gratitude, full. Roger, I have to say that when you came out with that song, I was thinking the words in my mouth, the one, the peace of God is shining in me now. And as they were in my mind, you came and you started singing. So it was like joining. And Jesse, that is the name that one of the teachers of God that I know calls Jesus. And so between you and Jesse and Jennifer as the mother with the beautiful meditation, I just felt surrounded by God, which is the Trinity. So I'm just gonna just to say a sweet short thank you. Thank you. The music is really my best form of prayer. And the words come less and less as I just sit and receive as I did today. But I just know that this gathering fills our heart. The little share I had with my group was also an opening for continued growth, continued learning, and dedication to continuing to shine our lights. So in grace and in gratitude, we accept that purpose and we commit to it. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thanks to everybody on Facebook. Yay. God bless you. Mwah. Yeah.